Test 1 2 3 4 5. Test. Okay. 1 2 3 4 5. Today is July 27th, 1984. The time is 11:15 in the morning. This tape will contain a copy of a tape recording which I received recently from Jim McCampbell concerning some phone conversations he had with Dr. Paul Bennewitz. And the details of these calls will be given shortly by Jim. The date of the first call, I understand, is July 13th, 1984. Following this is another telephone call of July 17th. The copy of his tape begins immediately, without further comment by me.
This is Jim McCampbell making a recording of a remarkable episode on July the 13th, 1984. It has to do with a UFO base, cattle mutilations, advanced weaponry, contact with aliens, and so forth. The episode began about a week ago when I received a little semi-annual periodical entitled Stigmata. It's number 21, the first half of 1984. This little bulletin is prepared by Thomas Adams at Post Office Box 1094, Paris, Texas 75460. He has a hotline for reporting possible or confirmed mutilations at area code 214-784-5922. In a rather lengthy article, one finds the point of interest on page number 9. And I suppose the only way to pursue this will be to read what he has here, as it's fundamental to the entire story. Quoting, in May of 1980, a most interesting event occurred in northern New Mexico, an event similar in many respects to the Doherty case, that is capital D-O-R-A-T-Y. A mother and her young son were driving on a rural highway near Cimarron, New Mexico. They observed two or more craft, and as Judy Doherty did, they observed the calf being abducted. Both observers were themselves abducted, taken on separate craft to what was apparently an underground installation, where the woman witnessed the mutilation of the calf. It has been alleged that she also observed a vat containing unidentified body parts floating in a liquid and another vat containing the body of a male human. The woman was subjected to an examination, and it has been further alleged that small metallic objects were implanted into her body as well as into her son's body. More than one source has informed us that CAT scans have confirmed the presence of these implants. Paul Bennewitz, B-E-N-N-E-W-I-T-Z, president of his own scientific company in Albuquerque and an investigator with the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, has been the principal investigator on the case. Interviewed in his office in April 1983, Bennewitz reports that through regressive hypnosis of the mother and child, and his own follow-up investigation, therein, including communications received via his computer terminal, which is ostensibly from the UFO-related source, closed therein, he was able to determine the location of the underground facility, a kilometer underground beneath Jicarilla Apache Indian Reservation near Dulce, D-U-L-C-E, New Mexico, therein. Since 1976, one of the areas of the U.S. hardest hit by mutilations, coincidentally or whatever, closed parent. Bennewitz's information is that this installation is operated jointly as part of an ongoing program of cooperation between the U.S. government and extraterrestrial UFOnauts. The story continues that after initial contacts years ago, the aliens agreed to give us certain technological advantages while we provided them with the location for the New Mexico base and at least 3 others. Plus, the aliens were to be allowed to carry out certain operations, abductions and mutilations, without our intervention. The mother and son, by the way, were returned back to their car that night. Since the incident, they have suffered repeated trauma and difficulties as they attempt to recover from the episode. We pass this along because the account is, of course, most crucial if true, but we are not in a position to confirm the alleged findings. Hopefully, more information regarding this incident will be aired in the near future. We can only consider such reports while continuing to seek the evidence to refute or confirm. That's the end of this remarkable quotation from Stigmata. As I have been studying the idea of bases for aliens for some time, this caught my attention, and I've also suspected cooperation between the U.S. government and the aliens, and also as it gives the name and location of a man who is has his own scientific operation, Dr. Paul Bennewitz. I tried to get in touch with him. Through the telephone information service, I was able to do so. Putting the information in one place, it's Dr. Paul Bennewitz, Bennewitz. Telephone number is area code 505-298-1609. The address, presumably the home address, not quite sure, is 1413 Wagon Trail Drive, S.E., Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87123. I got in touch with Dr. Bennewitz by telephone and indicated that I had seen this reference to him and his work, and I wanted to find out whether he was being misrepresented or whatever. I told him that I would Xerox a copy of it and forward it to him for comments, which I did. This morning, July the 13th, 84, he telephoned me and said that, having looked over the article, that it was substantially correct. I forgot to mention that in my letter to him, I said that none of the details that were in this particular article gave me any strain. And then Dr. Bennewitz, who we refer to as Paul, took time to close the door to his office and elaborated on the whole story. And the conversation lasted somewhere near an hour, and it's rather mind-boggling, and here's the substance of that telephone conversation. The article is basically accurate, and he has the coordinates of the base. He is a physicist, and he started 4 years ago to determine in his own mind whether UFOs exist or do not. And he has gotten much more deeply involved in it than he ever intended. It has caused him a great deal of trouble from the government intelligence groups. He has pictures from the location. He went with a highway patrol officer, and they saw a UFO take off from a mesa at the location.